करना नहीं ना है। पर सर
देखो क्या है ना, कोई बैंक शेयर सर्टिफिकेट को बहुत और
पर सर बहुत जगह एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर ने खुद जिसका नाम प्रॉपर्टी शेयर
हाँ, वो आता आवाज नहीं आ रहा है।
उनका नाम भी शेयर सर्टिफिकेट में एंटर किया है।
है क्या?
निकाल के चलेगा।
We are sorry for the inconvenience caused by the technical glitch. We'll start it up again. The problem has been solved as I'm getting the instructions. So we'll begin.
Yeah, once again, we apologize for whatever technical problems we have been facing. There were some issues related to the audio.
Yeah.
I believe you would have been seeing our faces since the last 10-15 minutes, but without audio. But now I believe things have been put right. So yes, Sanghas, we shall begin.
First of all, we have already apologized and
We welcome once again through the new link and with the new fervor we will again start.
Yes, because this today the topic which we have chosen for addressing our viewers is the misconception, and for getting awareness and letting all the people create a legal background, a legal thing what the cooperative housing society is related for.
Correct.
How the administration actually works is the important thing which we are about to discuss. It can range from membership, it ranges from transfers of the membership, it relates to share. Sometimes there are many other dispute filed on the basis of membership.
Exactly.
Then there are currently we are into election festival, so the right to vote, who has the right to vote, and the most thing and the main thing is disqualifications.
Correct.
How the committee members are to be formed,
Right.
and lastly we'll take up the administration, the meetings and other related concepts. This, sir, I believe this is not a small topic which can be discussed in one session.
No, what Sanghas is trying to make a point here is misconception can be there in each and every section of the act.
Correct.
It can be in each and every bylaw. Whenever you read particular bylaw,
Yes.
there are about 175 bylaws in our model bylaws.
Correct.
And each and every bylaw may create some sort of a misconception.
Correct.
So we have to be very clear, because what we have analyzed in the
Yes.
last 2 to 3 years
Yes.
during the COVID period,
Yes.
lockdown period, is that the root cause of most of the disputes
Yeah.
is because of the misconceptions
Yes.
as well as the misinterpretation of what is being provided in the act and the rules,
Correct.
bylaws and other things.
Correct.
So it is not that each and every person understands. There are many, obviously, a lot of technical and legal words and
Yeah.
titles which are involved.
Correct.
So basic, due to which probably everybody may not be aware of, may not be able to understand the
May
actual
not be able to interpret in a actual
right way,
in the right way.
in the right way. So they keep interpreting in the way which they like.
Yes.
Some managing committee and some members interpret the way which is favorable to them
Yeah.
and try to may cause for more problems.
Right.
So that is the main.
As per their convenience. Sometimes
per
they
their
go
convenience.
into other aspect which is not good, which is not prescribed.
Which is not prescribed,
Yeah.
and in the long run, ultimately it is going to lead to some sort of an issue or a trouble or a
yes.
dispute between the members.
Yes. But we here, under the guidance of Mr. Prabhu, are providing so many alternatives, so many answers to each and every kind of misconception. So, firstly, we'll start from membership. As we have always and been through many videos, been talking about 4 type of new membership which were introduced by 2019 amendment.
Correct.
I'll introduce those 4 membership. Those are first is the primary member, second is the joint member, who is the joint owner in the property. Third is the associate member, which are only 12 relatives which are mentioned in the definition. And lastly is the provisional membership. We have already done the video
Correct.
because we may not repeat it again. But sir, what are the main misconceptions over this
Yeah.
membership?
Now, before going into this particular aspect, I also would like to throw some light on the misconception. There is a slight. I want to just go back.
Okay.
This we have been talking. We are discussing about those aspects
Yes.
which are probably which come in after the formation of the society and the committee being there and other things.
Yes.
But there are some 2 or 3 basic issues
Yeah.
which some of the societies face.
Yeah.
Like, for example, relating to OC
Oh.
or relating to the conveyance of the property. There's a huge misconception.
Okay.
Now, as you rightly stated, the main biggest issue what the societies are now, there many of them are trying to understand, and we also advise most of them that the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act basically is dealing with 99% with the membership aspects.
Right.
There are hardly any
Other laws.
rules, regulations, or the provisions of the act, any sections which lead with any sort of a property or any title related. There are some, no doubt, but mostly if you see, predominantly it is dealing with membership aspects and the what are the different various day-to-day functions and disputes if they arise because of some membership aspect, how to resolve them.
Yes.
But there are some other acts which are associated with MCS Act,
Yeah.
like how we had the MOFA earlier,
Yes.
MOFA Act. Then now we have a RERA also which is associated with MCS.
Correct.
There are succession, Indian Succession Act which is associated. So on and property, transfer of property act which is. So there are other law of the land which are also associated with the MCS Act.
Right.
But just to mention 2 of them, very important as far as the societies are concerned, housing societies are concerned, that obtaining OC is one of a very important aspect. There is a misconception that whether the society or the structure or the building should have an OC before it is being occupied. I think we'll throw some light on that before going to the membership aspect.
Correct.
And second aspect is whether how important the conveyance of the land and the building to the society in the long run.
Correct.
So we'll try to address these 2 issues,
Right.
and then we'll go to the issues which are actually plaguing the societies after the formation.
Yes. Yes.
So we'll talk about these 2 aspects.
Yeah.
So now I think regarding, I'll just speak something about the occupation, then probably you may throw some light on the conveyance,
Yes.
then we'll move ahead. So now basically any structure, any building which is there, now we may be talking about societies which are new because occupation certificate, but at the same time there are about say 25-30,000 societies in Mumbai which still even after 30-40 years do not have the occupation certificate.
Right.
So now people what they feel, then what is the misconception? Because we have to relate the misconception in each and every point so that we are relating to today's topic. So what is the misconception there? So now as far as the occupation is concerned, people may feel that the building is complete in all respects. There is a fire NOC there in place, there is a lift NOC there in place. So it is very well a legally occupiable, or the particular building or society or a flat can be occupied. But are you right? Is the society right? The answer is technically and legally speaking you are not correct.
Correct.
So the building, unless and until it obtains the occupation certificate, if somebody is occupying that building, though the building may be complete in all respects, there is a difference between completion and occupation. So the building may be complete in all respects, but completion is not equal to occupation. Completion is the step just before the occupation. So once the building is complete in all respects, obviously the authority, the planning authority, in case of say if you say Mumbai, it is the municipal corporation, which gives an occupation certificate stating that yes, a certificate to the society or the building stating that this particular structure is complete in all respects. We have been approached for sort of inspecting the structure as far as the completion is concerned, and if you feel that things are in place, they have complied with all the statutory requirements, then we provide them with the occupation certificate. So the misconception is occupation certificate is not required, but the actual fact is occupation certificate is one of the most important document as far as the society is concerned. There are various high court judgments which have penalized the societies for occupying the structure of the society without obtaining the occupation certificate. They have penalized both the builder as well as the society members. They have been equally penalized. So this is one major thing. Second thing regarding occupation is, now all the societies feel that once the society is constructed, and even some of the builders also nowadays feeling that occupation, once you get the occupation, after getting the occupation, if there are some unsold units which are left out, so it may go to the society. That is not the case. That is again a misconception.
Correct.
So now, as far as the society is concerned, the structure is going to get the occupation certificate. So all unsold units will still remain with the builder, and the builder will continue to be one of the member of the society.
He's a statutory member.
He's a statutory member of the society till the time the flat is sold and a new member applies for membership and he is made as the member.
Correct.
So these are some limited. Now we can talk about occupation certificate itself is a topic in its own.
Yes.
So we can talk on this and we can explain, but I'll just limit it to this particular misconception and hand over to Sanghas to talk something about the misconception regarding the conveyance aspect.
Correct, correct. Now, as Father Sir has rightly said, what are the occupation and how the members occupy the rights over the occupancy of society. Now, while grant of conveyance or need of conveyance, why is it very important? See, simply a conveyance in a layman's language is a transfer of title. Transfer of title for the property which is immovable. That is important because if you have a title over a property, then only you have the right to ownership and the right to occupy all and to right to enjoy in each and every aspect of that property. I mean to say, when a property is owned, it is obviously going to be dilapidated in condition after several years. It has to be redeveloped. It has to be conveyed to other person. So if the conveyance is granted in the name of the society, then only the society is legible and is eligible to have every ownership right and revisionary right, basically what we say in legal language. That is what important conveyance is.
Correct.
So conveyance in a cooperative housing society is granted through a title transfer, which if the builder or if the landowners are not in cooperation with the society members, then it is granted by a act that is coming under MoFA. The MoFA grants you the right to have conveyance over the property, under which you approach the district deputy registrar and he grants you a deemed conveyance if there is a non-cooperation.
Correct.
Correct?
So now the misconception here is,
Yeah.
there are various societies which are still under the misconception
Yeah.
that if the conveyance of a property is not granted, and if you through the provisions of Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act,
Yeah.
because deemed conveyance is an aspect which has been prevailing since last about 12 to 13 years.
Yeah.
And everybody is aware of the fact that our chairperson, C.A. Ramesh Prabhu, is the person who was instrumental in actually getting this deemed conveyance into the provision into the act itself. So now this deemed conveyance, many of the societies, and we have seen lots of other consultants as well,
Yeah.
who say that deemed conveyance is not equal to conveyance. So this is a very major misconception. One.
Yes.
Second is, there have been lots of WhatsApp messages and other social media messaging going on since last so many years, since last 5 to 6 years I have been seeing that now deemed conveyance has been cancelled. So if you see each and every week, every alternate fortnight, you will see the same message being repeated, and this is happening since last 4 to 5 years. So whether that is true, misconception again.
Right.
So that is not true. So deemed conveyance or conveyance has not been taken away from the society. You have to have your title clear. You cannot have a property which is devoid of any title. So if the property, what is meant by conveyance? Transfer of the title from the present owner to the name of in the name of the society. So you have to have it. Deemed conveyance 100% is equal to a legal conveyance. There are other methods also to get conveyance. If you can also approach the civil court for obtaining the conveyance from the court. But getting the conveyance through the district deputy registrar is supposed to be an easier and a faster sort of an approach. So many societies have adopted, and there are lots of societies in Mumbai which have obtained deemed conveyance, and after the title getting transferred, what is the document showing the title? It is the property card, which shows that the title is currently in the name of the society. So the misconception is first of all, deemed conveyance is not the legal conveyance. Wrong. It is the legal conveyance. Second is that the conveyance aspect has now been, it has been done away with. No, it has not been done away with. You still, all societies need to have conveyance in their name. So conveyance is a very important aspect, and you all know that Prabhu Associates and all other sister concerns are very much involved in obtaining deemed conveyance. So you can always at any point in time approach us for any further assistance. Now, having said these two things, OC and conveyance part, we will have separate sessions for all these different individual aspects. Now, talking about the society, cooperative housing society as a whole, I think we can begin with the membership aspect.
Right.
So before that, one more thing is very important, that many people feel that registration of a society is not important. Again, a misconception. So once the society is formed, the occupation is received, the society is formed, then again you have to register the society. So which is the competent authority? The competent authority is the registrar's office. There is a registering authority for all cooperatives, and cooperative housing society belonging to the cooperative sector, wherein the deputy registrar is the authority who grants the registration with a registration certificate
of a housing society. This is also a misconception, as you have rightly said. Who is the registering authority? Because commonly people are understanding we go to a sub-registrar for registering our document. So is it the same? Is it the
Correct.
same authority wherein we can
Many
register
people
our society?
still feel that.
Correct. But for registering a society, there are certain criteria mentioned in Maharashtra Co-Operative Housing Societies Act, in which a authority is established, that is deputy registrar, which is a lower authority, who governs all such aspect of registration. In that, you have to form the society, as many amendments are carried out. The 51% of the flats has to be owned, and then only you can approach to the registration. So that is
again a misconception.
That is again.
And one more thing, further to that.
Correct.
There is a misconception that without the developer or the landowner coming forward, you cannot register the society.
That is not
this is again a misconception.
Correct.
So we wish to inform that there are two different
Aspect of registration
of a society. One is with the cooperation of the landowner or the developer, and the second is without the corporation. So the difference is that the authorities are different, the registering authorities are different where you approach. The non-corporation goes to a higher authority for registration. Most of the paperwork is very similar, but with a slight change in the application where you do, wherein the society approaches the registering authority for obtaining the registration of the society.
Correct.
So you have to understand that with cooperation or without cooperation, registration of a society is possible.
Yes.
Because formation of a society itself through the 97th constitutional amendment has become a fundamental right.
Correct.
So it is now part of the Article 19 of our constitution.
Yes.
So you cannot escape. Nobody can say that society does not have a right to get registered.
Right.
So formation and registration now part of our constitution.
Right.
So obviously that is a misconception which again should go.
And this was also related to the agreement clause, wherein the agreement for sale, which is registered with the unit holders by the developers. In it, he mentions what kind of association or what kind of entity he will be registering with the unit holders.
Correct.
So in it, there has been amendment. Firstly, before this amendment, there was 60% of the flats has to be sold, and now it is 51%. I am again repeating, it is 51% of the total units sold. Then only the society becomes eligible for getting it registered.
Applying for registration and getting the registration granted in its
Yeah. So that was the misconception, as we have already.
Again a misconception was there, which hopefully
Has
is
been
now
cleared?
clear now.
Yes. So moving on, as we have completed our preliminary aspect for getting a membership in a cooperative housing society, we have discussed conveyance related to the property. We have discussed OC, why the occupation shall be granted, and then we have come to the formation. These are all preliminary for making a cooperative housing society. Now we are into membership.
Now before we enter into membership,
Yeah.
I think the misconceptions are growing. I think most of the people may not have even thought that such misconceptions
Are
exist.
there
So I think our audience, our
Viewers.
the viewers who have been very cooperative since last more than a year now,
Yeah.
attending this Prabhu Se Khas Baat program, and have been encouraging and cooperating with us in every manner. Even today, I can see a lot of people joining in even after this technical glitch and having to have waited for more than about half an hour. So we just will take a short break.
Sure.
And come back again. In the meanwhile, you can also start listing out the other misconceptions so that you may put it on as a question to us.
Correct. We'll be right back.
For all services relating to transfer of flats, stamp duty, registration of documents, recovery of dues, RERA, MOFA, and important subjects like redevelopment and self-redevelopment of cooperative housing societies, you can always rely on MahaSeWA and Prabhu Associates for the best legal advice. You may reach us on our customer care number 022 4255 1414 for any assistance.
Welcome back again. Now we'll be taking up some questions which were already sent to us. Your host, Mr. Sunil Sharma, has already forwarded to us. He is always the one who hosts and...
He is the most active person in this particular setup.
Correct.
And he is unfortunately he is not in town today.
Yeah.
So and not being in range, he was unable to connect, because otherwise he would have connected. If he would have been in range,
Yeah.
he would have still connected even remotely. But unfortunately he is not in
there.
range.
He's not there. So I'll try to fit in his shoes.
Correct.
We'll start up with the question which was sent to us by a viewer, Mr. Prashant Jain. Pata sir, he asks, occupation of a flat cannot be kept without membership. Please clarify difference between membership and occupancy of unit in housing society.
So this is a very classic question.
Correct.
As usual, Prashant ji ka sawal first रहता है, because he has been a very active participant in this particular program. So now what is the difference between a person who has obtained membership and a person who has not obtained membership? So now before going into that aspect, we also need to know whether that person is occupying that flat or not occupying that flat. So let us consider that somebody has purchased that flat and he is occupying it. Now I am considering the aspect that he has purchased it. There may be other types of occupation also, wherein without purchasing also somebody could become an occupier. But I am considering that that this person has purchased that flat, and on purchasing that flat, the what you may call it as the right to actually go to the society and ask for membership is left to him. Is left to that person. Nobody can force that particular flat buyer to become a member of the society.
Right.
He has to voluntarily go and apply for membership, and the society grants him membership.
Right.
Otherwise, what happens is what the question is. The question is, if somebody purchases a flat, does not approach the society for obtaining membership, then how is he classified? And what are his rules? What are the rules? What does the rule say? What are his duties, responsibilities, and what is attached to this such particular occupier?
Right.
So now this occupier, the word occupier itself is mentioned in the rules, which says that if a person who has purchased the property and you are aware that that person has purchased the property and he has been occupying that particular flat without granting him, without the person applying for membership, the society can very well start billing him the maintenance charges, stating as an occupier of that particular flat. For example, if flat number 401 has been occupied by an X person, you may know his name or may not know his name, but you know that this person has been staying there, occupying it, but he has not obtained the membership.
Right.
So still the society can raise monthly bills, stating that this person is an occupier of that flat. He has been making use of all the facilities and services provided by the society, as well as he is also part of the society in creating the funds. So each and every heading wherein this particular your maintenance bill may carry, all these headings can be billed to this person as an occupier, and you can start what you may call it as bill this person and collect the maintenance from him.
Right.
And this, what I will go one step further ahead and even state that the recovery proceedings in case of an occupier is also possible.
You can relate to the definition which is given for the defaulter. A society can also recover dues, pending dues, from an occupier, from a member, So occupier word can be seen over there also.
Exactly. So the occupier word is defined, already defined. You have to just misconception.
Yeah.
Again, the misconception is that if somebody is not applied for a membership in a society,
Yes.
you cannot do anything. How do I recover money? How do I bill him? How do I what status do I need to give him? How do the society categorize the person?
Correct.
These all types of misconceptions
Right,
are there.
right.
So it is very clear. Whether he has applied, if he has applied for, well and good, you grant him membership based on his scrutiny of the documents.
Yes.
But even otherwise, if somebody is occupying that flat, the society has every right to bill him and collect money, maintenance, other funds,
Yes.
as well as for non-payment of any of the dues, he can be treated as a defaulter and recovery proceedings can be initiated.
Yeah. That. So moving on, there was a same question or same related question against it. It is a misconception if someone is not having membership but occupation not liable to pay maintenance charges. Same as you have done.
Again, so that's a misconception. So it is very clear that the recovery proceedings itself state that recovery can be done by from an occupier as well as a member.
Correct.
So once the occupier word has been mentioned there, obviously you can recover from an occupier as well.
Correct. Moving on, the next question relates to parking, sir. Please remove misconception that if any member has purchased parking from the developer can sell and keep absolute use and possession of the parking for buildings sold under MoFA. Please speak on it.
This is a burning issue. Actually, this is not a misconception. Many people know about it and still pretend to not know anything about that. This is the actual scenario because this parking issue has been going on since last 25-30 years.
So many years.
So even in MoFA is very clear on parking. It does not say anything related to sale of parking areas.
Correct.
There is a new act which has been enacted. There is a new, you may call it, we call it as the legislature has enacted a new law which is called as the RERA Act. So in RERA Act, parking has been clearly defined in two different categories, under two different categories. One is parkings which can be sold and the other one is parkings which cannot be sold. So in RERA it is clearly stated that closed parking can be sold. Sold in the sense a closed parking can be, there can be an agreement for sale which can be executed.
Yes.
A stamp duty can be paid for that.
Yes.
As well as the person who is purchasing it becomes the permanent owner of that particular parking. That is a closed parking. And what is closed parking is also defined in the Act and the rules. I am talking about RERA. All other parkings which do not fall under the closed parking are those parkings which cannot be sold.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Right.
So what this closed parking is defined. When you go back to MoFA, now we are talking about predominantly in societies which are formed
Before
RERA. So in those cases, parkings, whether it has been sold by the builder, whether it has been allotted by the builder, or somebody may have this sort of a situation wherein the agreement mentions that there is a parking.
Okay.
And there may not be a separate document for parking. It may be included in the agreement for sale of your flat. And the builder may have mentioned either sold or allotted or whatever the terminology he may be using it. But the bottom line is, whatever is written regarding parking by the builder,
Yes.
whatever transactions are happened, whether paying of money or without money, or the money is inclusive in your cost of the flat, and all those things may come across. But parking can never have been sold, and nobody could have ever purchased a car park during the MoFA regime. So there is nothing called as purchase or sale of car parkings. Car parkings shall always belong to the society,
Right.
and society is the only entity which can allot car parking. The builder actually does not have any right to do so.
Right.
So what the builder had to do, the entire car parking, listing all the car parking as per what is approved in the approved plan, the final approved plan, has to be handed over to the society while handing over. And these car parkings belong to the common area of the society, and the society's general body is the only authority which can decide on how to allot as per their car parking policy.
Right.
Besides this, nobody can do that. Yes.
That is why we always advise each and every society which approaches us ki have your parking policy
Exactly.
in your society. Decide it in your AGM so that you can have a proper administration in your parking slots. proper thing. There cannot be any dispute, and all such kind of dispute can be prevented by forming a parking policy.
And parking policy is also defined in the bylaws as well. If you go through the bylaws are very clear on. There may be different types of car parking policies for different societies, depending upon the number of car parks available and the number of flats there, and whether it is less than the car parks, more than the. So all those permutation combinations can be made use of, and you can actually create a car parking. There are professionals who actually can give you various tips on how to go about and bring your car policy in actual effectively implement that. But again, I am repeating it. Car parkings prior to RERA couldn't have been sold. Neither could somebody could have purchased it. I know that this statement is a very big statement, and people may still feel that this is an incorrect statement. But we are all relying upon the judicial system in our country, and there are various judgments as far as car parking, selling, purchasing, which have been pronounced by the Honorable Supreme Court of our country. So we are just relying on those judgments, and we are concluding on that basis.
Moving on, there is another question related to co-option of members. We have already cleared so many misconceptions, sir, in this half an hour of this session. This is a new concept because right now we are in the election festival.
Exactly.
And many people are asking the same question. What are the rules regarding co-option? How can we co-opt? What if the member resigns? What if he dies? So these are related to.
So now to talk about the latest. Now just about 2 days back, there was a circular which was issued by the Co-Operative department. That circular was actually pertaining to societies having more than 250 members.
Right.
It was for C category societies, not for E category societies. And in that, the co-option is somewhat clearly mentioned. I am telling somewhat because there is still some ambiguity in that.
Right.
So, but there are more or less there is some clarity in that, stating that co-option, which is there in the Act as well, in the bylaws also it is particularly mentioned. But it is only mentioned that any sort of a casual vacancy which is arriving in the committee can be filled up with a co-option. So no, but there are some again misconceptions about how many committee members can be co-opted or how many vacancies can be filled up through co-option. So the earlier circular of the Co-Operative department dated October 9, 2018, which stated that after the committee completed 50% of its tenure, that is, if the committee has already completed 2.5 years in term, then the committee could have co-opted maximum 2 people. This is what is given in the circular of 2018. Now there was an amendment in the Act in the year 2019, and again there co-option is mentioned, but it's not clearly mentioned how many people could be co-opted. Now again it's an interpretation, but the same amendment of the year 2019, there is a last subsection which is subsection 31. I am talking about the 154B amendment, the new housing chapter which has been introduced in the MCS Act. 154B subsection 31 clearly states that till the time rules are framed. Now we also wish to inform you that the rules for the amendment of 154B are yet to be framed, not yet framed. We are expecting that it may come in the due course of time. But till the time the rules have not been framed, it has been clearly expressively mentioned in 31, subsection 31, that you have to follow the earlier rules till the time rules are framed. So what does the earlier rule says? It also mentioned about all circulars, rules, regulations, everything has been mentioned in 31. So the circular word which has been mentioned there may probably relate to the circular which is of the October 2018. So we may have to follow the same circular guidelines which has been provided in that circular until the time rules are not framed for 154B. We may have to still carry on. I am talking about societies up to 250 members. I am talking about E category, because for C category the co-option has already been made public about couple of days back. I also would like to mention what is mentioned in that particular circular. It states that there is no tenure which is mentioned there, like unlike how it is mentioned of the 2.5 year tenure which is mentioned in the 2018 circular. This states that in case there is a casual vacancy and you need to co-opt, then you may co-opt in the 5 year tenure of the committee, but the maximum vacancies which can be filled up through co-option cannot exceed 1/3 of the total strength of the committee. So what does this mean? This means that if there are 9 members in the committee, elected members in the committee, so not exceeding 1/3 means you cannot co-opt more than 3 members in the entire 5 years. So you may do it 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
The first time probably you may co-opt 1 person. Then there are 2 more seats which are left out. Probably after 2 years you may co-opt the other 2. But in the entire tenure of 5 years,
Yeah.
the committee you cannot co-opt more than 1/3 of the total strength of the committee. This is what has been mentioned in the circular.
Right.
This is applicable for societies above 250 members, but for below 250 members or up to 250 members, we may still have to follow the earlier circular of 2018 November, and which states that you cannot co-opt more than 2 members, and that too after completing 2.5 years in office.
Right. So we have already.
And one more thing. Co-option, we have to, one more which I want to mention here is, co-option, either it was the earlier circular or the current circular, very clearly states that it has to be done in the presence of the
Authorized
authorized authorities person.
Sent
The
by
person
the
who has been authorized to conduct that particular meeting in which the co-option is
He'll
done.
be the presiding officer sent by the state cooperative election authority or the deputy registrar.
Exactly, district authority or the state authority,
Yeah.
as the case may be,
Yeah.
and he will be presiding in that particular meeting where co-option is done. Obviously, co-option will be done in the committee meeting only. It is not necessary or it is not required to go for a general body meeting.
Correct.
But it can be done in the committee meeting, but by following the due process.
Correct. This question was raised by Mr. Najendra Achari. He had related this question of co-option.
Okay.
Moving on, I really like this question. The next question which is popping up. It is the biggest misconception of the members that once they have made nominations in favor of his or her beloved, he would only be absolute title owner of the unit of the CHS.
So this is a classic question, as Sangaran was mentioning, and this nomination is a never dying
Never dying.
misconception.
Correct.
Probably people, maybe all the viewers who are watching
Agreed
today
viewers.
may agree. Agreed viewers are there. Non-agreed viewers may agree to what we are telling.
Correct.
But there are still a whole ocean of members
Yeah.
who still talk about the Indrani Vahi judgment of Supreme Court in the 2016, and they still try to relate it with the
Correct.
current Maharashtra state, and
Right.
lots of confusion
Right.
being created.
Right.
But the only thing which we could talk about co-option
Yeah.
is that about the nomination is that it is very clear. The definition of nomination itself is very clear, that a nominee shall always be a caretaker or a trustee to that particular asset,
Right.
be it a movable asset or an immovable property. So all these assets, wherever a nominee is being assigned to that particular asset, you can also relate this to your bank account.
Yeah.
So similarly, like how banks have a nominee who has been assigned to all your bank accounts, whether being for your savings account or your FDs related or your jewelries, lockers, everything. So whoever is a nominee in a bank, and what are the rights available and what are the duties, rather I should say duties for a nominee. The duties are more than the rights, I would say.
Right.
Slightly higher than what the rights are, because it is the duty of that particular nominee to take care of the property. As a caretaker, as a trustee, he has to protect the property. And what happens next? It is his duty to actually hand over the property. And how does it get handed over? Obviously through a court. It cannot, the property, when there is a property which has gone, or the person, the owner of the property has died, and he has died intestate in the sense when there is no will. Even in case of will, the nominee sometimes he plays a role in even the will getting probated. Till the time the will does not get probated, he has the duty to safeguard that property.
Right.
Similarly, in case of where there is no will, he plays a larger role there, because he is the person who is actually required to go and inform all the legal heirs about this property. The person has died and you are one among the legal heirs,
Yeah.
and you please come and claim your property. This nominee may also be a legal heir. But till that time the order is not obtained from the court, the competent authority. Every time it may not be the court, it may be some other authority as well in other cities. Basically in Bombay, Madras and Kolkata, this
Basically,
particular
metropolitan cities are governed by probate.
probate. So other things, but whenever there is a dispute and whenever there is a property which needs to be transferred or transmitted,
Yeah.
in both the cases, a nominee plays a very important role, not as a owner of that property, but as a trustee of that property. So we have to remember that a member who has obtained a membership, a nominee who has obtained a membership through nomination, is a provisional member of the
Yes,
society,
yes.
and provisional word itself states that provisional. It
Temporary.
is not full, final. It is for a temporary period of time. And what is this temporary period? This temporary period is nothing else but till the time there is a court order.
Yeah.
Till the time there is an order of either of a probate or an order for succession.
Till the time the legal heir doesn't prove his absolute ownership to the property.
Exactly. So, in between, intermediary, the society, so that the society is not deprived of a person to whom they can bill and from whom they can collect the maintenance charges, that is the specific reason why the MCS Act has a particular membership which was earlier called as a nominee member, and now this person is called as a provisional member of the society. So it's very clear now. There may be still doubts coming up, but a nominee immediately does not become the owner of the property. He is a person who holds the property in trust. In future, he may either be a beneficiary of the will, basis the probate he can become an owner, or he may be one amongst the legal heirs, wherein through the succession he may become an owner, absolute owner, or a partial owner or joint owner.
Correct.
So that will come only after it is decided through the court of law.
Right.
Till the time he has to hold the property in trust.
Right. So moving on, we'll take up this question as the last question for this day, because this topic is going to be a lengthy topic. We'll have a part.
We may have to have, like how you have now this new thing which has come in, Netflix and all these things. You have got episodes and episodes. This will flow into episodes.
We'll have it in a seasons.
We'll have it in seasons. We may not, probably misconception, I think what I personally feel is that let us have this as a 3 or 4 week session immediately.
On a quarterly basis, we'll take up the misconception, we'll write it down, we'll
Exactly.
have a list of it, and then on a quarterly basis, we'll
Address
provide
it.
the misconception.
And moreover, I also wish and request all our audience to members to come forward and post more and more misconceptions, more and more questions related to misconception,
Right.
so that it is also a learning curve for us. We are also learning in the same process along with you.
Correct.
So there may be a lot of questions which probably we may also try to understand from all our members and other audience who are been with us for such a long time. So I again request that please join us in each of our program, and please keep posting all these queries, questions, your feedbacks.
Yeah.
Even if you have any sort of grievance against the program or whatever we have been saying.
Any suggestions?
Any suggestions? If you are not agreeing with any of our sort of explanation which you have, you may please call upon us. And
with that, for promoting us and for having us appreciating us in kind of way, you can please hit the like button. You can share our program, you can share our channel, and please hit the like button.
This is the like. So you have to. This one thing which we can demand from you.
Yeah.
Is that you have to put this like every time. Whenever you come to the whenever you see something on the YouTube channel, press the like button.
Correct. So last question for the session. It is related to the terms of the constituting committee. As per bylaws, member cannot contest election after 2 terms of MC. 3 of our MC members have been in MC for 3 years, half term only, of previous committee, and now 7 years since 2015 due to COVID. Are they eligible to contest now?
This is again a very big misconception. Now let us talk about the elections as a whole.
Yeah.
Now we have been and we have in the recent past, and again we are in the process of many states wherein the legislative assembly is being
to be elected.
Legislators are to be elected. Lots were there in the past, to mention West Bengal and Tamil Nadu, which just had their the state assembly being formed. Similarly, Uttar Pradesh and other states are following suit.
Yes.
Now the state of Maharashtra, in the state of Maharashtra, we have Mumbai, which is another corporate, what do you call it as? Municipal corporations, which are going for elections, municipal elections.
Yeah.
Now, there is no much of a difference between those elections and the elections which are to be conducted in cooperative housing societies. The only difference is that those elections are actually under the purview of the election commissioner. The election commissioner who is there as the election commission for the entire country will take care of those elections. But in case of the cooperatives, it is being taken care by the cooperative election commission. That is the only difference. But more or less, if you see, the rules are very similar to how we have for a general election. Now, coming to the aspect of whether anybody can have any sort of a restriction on the contesting aspects, the answer is no. There is no restriction at all.
A clear no.
A clear no for any sort of a restriction, because it is a fundamental right for everybody to participate and have contest in the elections.
Yes.
So if you see, there are lots of member of parliaments, member of legislative assemblies who have been there since last 35 years.
Yeah.
Who have been elected time and again for 6 terms, 8 terms, 10 terms. So there is no stopping.
Yes.
Now the only thing which can happen is if somebody is agreed about somebody getting elected again and again.
Yeah.
So the only option left with you is to keep an opposite. Or you make somebody, request somebody to contest,
Right.
as an opposition or a candidate on to face off with him.
Yeah.
And you elect this person and try to elect the other person out.
Correct.
So that is the only option which is available with you, but there is no restriction as far as the number of times that somebody could contest for the election.
Could hold the committee.
Could hold the committee. The only thing which I could say through this question is that the person is quite, you may call it as, I may not call him as a very powerful person, but this person may be a person who is quite liked by most of the members of the society,
Yes,
and that is the reason why he is being getting elected time and again.
Regularly.
So very popular. Popular is the right word. So he may be a popular person in your society, because of which he is getting elected as a chairman or a. And one more thing very clearly, when any society goes in for elections. Now Sanghas is a very famous election officer across Mumbai now, because he has been conducting a lot of elections across Mumbai. So now when any particular society goes in for election, the members of the society through that particular election only elect the committee members. They are not directly electing the chairman or the secretary or the treasurer. Let me be very clear on this. These office bearers are then selected amongst the members who are elected. So once the number of committee members are elected, then they have their meeting with the election of the returning officer, and in that first meeting they select their chairman or secretary. So now again the misconception is I am voting for the chairman. The voting for the chairman is a misconception.
Correct.
You are not voting a chairman, you are voting like how you do not vote for a finance minister, you vote an MP.
Yes.
You elect an MP.
Yes.
You vote for an MP and you elect an MP. Similarly, you elect for a member, and then amongst themselves, they have the office bearers. They form an opinion about who has to be the office bearer. So for the answer to this question is, the person whom you are mentioning, being a secretary for 3 terms or 4 terms, may be a very popular person amongst the members or even amongst the committee members who have been elected, and maybe having that persona to actually represent the society.
And most significant to say, this is a thankless job, sir.
Exactly.
This is a voluntary.
Most important answer to this.
This is a voluntary job under which they are spending their time, their precious time for administration of the society. So with that, their persona is.
It has to actually be such a persona that not only is actually going to represent the society before the various authorities and even before the members, but at the same point in time, he is also going to voluntarily come forward and participate in most of the society activities, so that he is actually taking out time from his personal
life.
So that is very most important. So people may have different opinions. There may be apprehensions of members coming in and getting elected in the committee, but all those things all said and done. But if somebody is representing and coming forward, I think you should appreciate and you should encourage him to rather come and contest in the election, rather than having such sort of a you should not have a different sort of a feeling wherein a person is getting elected. Everybody in the society has a fundamental right to contest. So if you want to contest, please come forward. fill up your nomination forms to
Opposite.
the returning officer.
Opposite.
Oppose him. If you do not want him, oppose him.
Yeah.
Or there can be a third option also, that along with him you also get into the committee and
Correct.
both of you join hands and work for the upliftment of the society.
As you have rightly said, you have mentioned the principle of cooperation
Exactly.
under which we are living.
Exactly. Mutuality and cooperation are the two principles which we always mention.
Yeah.
So you will be at the helm of the cooperation and mutuality. So
Correct.
try this option out next time when the elections are around.
Right.
And if you feel that Sangarsh is going to be the returning officer, you can very well appoint him as the returning officer because of this election festival which is happening.
Correct.
We have MahaSeWA is having lots of their associates
Yeah.
as returning officers who have been appointed on the registrar's panel. So you can very well appoint MahaSeWA or any of its other officials as the returning officer. It is again advised to all the societies having both the societies can now conduct their elections. Only societies in case of C categories wherein the elections have or the committee the term of the committee has got expired in the year 2021 are still not allowed to conduct their elections. Besides that, all committees wherein the election was due before 2021 and those C category societies I am talking about more than 250, but all E category societies which have up to 250 members, wherever the committee's tenure has expired, you have to conduct the elections. There is no going back from that particular procedure. You cannot have this done in your general body or your committee meeting, even if the society has very less number of members as well, because even if there are 10 members or 8 members in the society,
You have to compulsorily
compulsorily follow this particular procedure.
Yeah.
Appoint a returning officer either amongst your society members or from the panel of officers or from the panel of officers available in the registrar's panel. So this is what regarding the current
Yeah.
election related
Yeah.
sort of
We have sir many thanking message from our YouTube channel and from our live audience.
No,
We are really-
we can at least expect this much. I humbly request each one of you
Yes,
to
yes.
stay connected,
Yeah.
and we shall try, we shall endeavor that each and every time we are able to get something new. Some fresh topics, something new. Let us not go back to the same old topics and keep the discussions of
Correct.
whether something is right or wrong. That is the reason why we thought that misconceptions would be a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
And we have seen that a lot of people have joined in even after getting delayed. I again wish to thank them for joining us even if it was late, and once again we apologize for the hiccups which happened in the earlier part of the program.
So
Yes, sir.
this proves these are our sincere viewers who wants to join us, who wants to clarify all the misconceptions related to cooperative housing society.
Shows that how much they love us.
Yeah, we believe you will end up having more viewers which are there today presently with us. With that,
Our aspiration is that at least we should reach that 500 mark.
yeah.
And we have already reached about 350 viewers live, but we aspire that we reach that 500 mark very soon.
Correct.
Uh,
For that reason, please share.
Please share this particular link.
Please hit the like button.
Yeah, please like this program.
Yeah.
Please circulate to all the neighboring societies, your friends, relatives,
Correct.
who are maybe not only in India, but you can. But now being this as an online program,
Yeah.
so there is no restriction on the number of people who are going to view this.
Right.
So you can obviously go YouTube channel does not have any sort of a
No.
restriction. So we are not again, because you know that if some sort of a derogatory message or any sort of other things which are published in YouTube, obviously there is a message which comes across.
Correct.
That you are not supposed to
Sure.
discuss on such.
Put-
So we are not doing anything. None of our programs have ever had any such situations in the past. So we can ensure that nothing of that sort will happen in the future as well. So again, we request you, please join us. Please circulate this message. Please inform all your near and dear ones to join this program. Let's all form a community wherein we coexist peacefully. The main principle of cooperative housing society, that is cooperation and mutuality, let us uphold those principles, and let us see to it that most of our disputes and most of our problems, which obviously we cannot nullify and make it zero as a whole, but at least the smaller ones which can be sort of meted out
Yeah.
through mutual discussions and understanding. We should think of doing that. And MahaSeWA is always available at your just phone call away. You may also visit us in our office.
Yeah.
Today being Saturday, as always we say, Saturdays are days wherein a lot of housing societies come in, because all members,
Yeah.
all MahaSeWA members have been provided that platform
Yeah.
wherein they can, with prior appointment, approach our office, come visit our office, have a feel of what we actually do here, and also at the same time get consulted
Correct.
for all their different sorts of issues which arise in their society. Besides that, I'll also share my office call center numbers, which is 022 4255 1414, which our Mr. Rakesh, who is actually the person who is, in spite of having this particular hiccup, he was very prompt enough, or he had the immediately had the presence of mind to locate where the problem was, and he could rectify this immediately. So thanks to Rakesh for having this program live today. And again, you may also mail us on rsprabhu13@gmail.com. There are various modes of communications. So we also welcome you to our office in Andheri, which is just besides Andheri station on the west side. So Andheri West is where we have our office set up. So I once again thank each one of you,
Yes.
and also thank us to have hosted today's program.
No,
And in absence of
I thank you, Pata sir, for providing misconceptions related awareness. Creating clarity, having a clear idea regarding this misconception. We have.
It is just the beginning now.
Yeah.
We may continue with this topic probably for next week
Correct,
or a
correct.
couple of weeks henceforth as well. But please keep posting your queries.
Sure.
Please keep informing us of our any sort of, or if you feel that there needs to be a lot of improvement, please do that.
Correct.
We will always try to improve ourselves. As I told you, we are also learning along with you. So let us keep this learning platform open, and till the time we meet next week again, next Saturday. Till the time, myself and Sangarsh signing off on a very positive note, and have a great day and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.